He came out to the West Coast in 1934. He came out here to do something in pictures, and I was called. This is when NBC was over on the back end of the RKO lot, when Howard Hughes owned it. So I was called to come down to a 5-minute insert that was going to be used on an Eastern show. And if you remember, in those early days, reversing the lines was an extremely expensive thing, and there was really no transcontinental radio originating out of here except one show, which was called the RKO Theater of the Air, which was for RKO, and it was kind of plugging their products, and it was not a sponsored show. Jack came in, they had this 5-minute spot, and I was called in to do the other part on it. What it was, he was on the train coming out, and he meets this rather personable young fellow, and he's talking to him about the fact that he's going to California, and he's going to be in pictures, and the other fellow's very polite, but rather non-committal, and finally says, he says, you look like a personable young man. Possibly I could do something for you. My name's Jack Benny. What's yours? And the answer was Clark Gable. And that was the part that I played. So that was the first thing I did with him, and then I did, 2 or 3 things of that nature, small things, and then he brought his regular show out here. I just did odds and ends with him, no particular part. One day, the boys wrote a yes in, and I happened to stretch it a little, and it got a laugh. And the next week, I was on again, and they said, let's try that thing again. And I said, well, what do you mean, what thing? They said, well, you kind of stretched the yes, and it got a laugh. Let's see if it works. And that's really the way the character began. And then they'd write things like, oh, and I'd see what I do with it, and, I just did the gimmick thing with it in each case. I mean, it was just a voice thing, and so the character became a regular on the show, and I was with him all through the years.
By December, Jack Benny's rating was up to 25.4, tops on radio.
In many cases, a show would get well underway before he would even make an appearance.
That's true, yeah. That's very true. And then he had a great facility of mentioning something. I wonder where I put that book or something like that, or where Dennis would be, or whatever's going to happen. And all of a sudden, when we were practically to the end of the show, that would come in another roundabout way that made a hilarious ending to the whole thing. He had that great facility. So he was really, in the early days when I was with Jack, he used to work with the writers on all the ideas and the dialogue and everything else. And then when we'd come in to read, usually on a Wednesday or a Thursday, we'd have our first reading. And after the reading was over, we'd leave and go home. And then they would edit it and tighten it up. And my gosh, every time that would be 200% better once they worked it over. And Jack would work. He says, I don't like this, we've got to replace this, or bring in, new dialogue, or let's keep this. But he was a great editor of scripts. This is one of the great sense of comedy that the man had. Not only was an editor, but what a timer, a master timer. He knew how long to milk a laugh and when to stop when he had enough. Or the public had enough, the audience.
On December 11th, 1949, Jack attempted to make arrangements for his Texas benefit appearance.
The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Dennis Day, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack is leaving tonight for Houston, Texas, where he's going to be the master of ceremonies at the big charity football game there next Saturday. As we look in at the Benny house, Rochester is finishing Jack's pack.
Let's see, I've got all his clothes packed. His shaving cream, razor, toothbrush, and toothpaste. I better check and see if I packed all his pills. I can't understand why Mr. Benny carries all these medicines. He never takes any, but he always wants them with him. I guess it's like his money. He never spends any, but it gives him comfort to know it's there. I wonder where the...
Rochester, have you finished my packing?
Just about, boss. You want to look in the suitcase before I close it?
Yeah, let's see. Suits, shirts, underwear. Rochester, why'd you pack all these thick woolen socks? It doesn't get that cold in Texas.
I know, but in case you step into any oil, you'll want to sop up as much as you can.
Oh, yes, yes.
Say, boss, isn't Phil Harris going down with you?
Yes, Rochester, and Dinah Shore, too. We're going to have quite a show. No, it's for the Damon Runyon Fund, the National Kids Foundation, and Holly Hall of Houston. It's going to be one of the biggest... I'll get it, Rochester. You finish packing. Hello?
Hiya, Jackson.
Well, if it isn't Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. What do you want, Phil?
Well, I wanted to tell you I might be a little late getting down to that railroad station.
Well, Phil, you better not miss the train. It's important. You know.
It's important that I have my hair done, too.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Phil, you have it done every 2 days. Why are you so proud of your hair?
Look, Jackson, it's the only nice thing I've got that Alice didn't give me.
Oh. Say, Phil, when we get down to Houston, what kind of a routine are you going to do on the show?
Oh, the usual thing. Stand up there, let them look at me. Then I'll tell a few jokes, and then I'll sing 28 courses, and that's what I like about the South.
28 choruses?
Well, there ain't no use in giving them the whole thing, Jackson. Let them tease them a little. Let's tease them a little.
Well, anyway, Phil, you couldn't possibly sing the whole song. We're only going to be there 5 days, you know. Now, look, Phil, here's something very important I want to tell you before we leave.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, first, I want you to... Phil. Oh, darn it, we were cut off. Well, he knows it's important. He'll probably call me right back. Now, Rochester. Oh. Hello, Phil. I'm glad you called back because...
Jack, this is Mary.
Oh, hello, Mary. I was expecting Phil.
Well, Jack, I'm calling from a bookstore, and I thought I'd get you something to read on the train.
Oh, good, Mary. That's sweet. What are you getting me?
A book of epigrams and witty sayings.
Epigrams and witty sayings? What do I need with that?
Well, you may get into a conversation with someone. You know how lost you are without your writers.
Well, you needn't worry about that, Mary. I'm taking one of my writers with me.
Oh, good. You'll be the life of the club car. Which writer are you taking?
John Tackerberry.
Tackerberry?
Yes, you see, he came from Houston 10 years ago, and I thought it'd be nice if I took him home so he could change his clothes. Now, look, Barry, I'm expecting Phil to call me right back, so I better hang up. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Jack.
I wish Phil would hurry up and call back. It's important. Maybe I better call him.
Boss, I've got everything packed.
Good. And I've taken care of everything I had to do, too. Gee, I'm glad I went to the dentist this morning and had my teeth fixed.
You're going to strike oil even if you have to bite your way down.
Never mind. Now, I'm going to call... That's probably Phil. Phil?
Oh, hello, Jack. This is Don.
Oh, hello, Don. I was expecting a call from Phil. Where are you?
Well, I'm rehearsing the Sportsman Quartet for their opening at the Coconut Grove Tuesday night.
Oh, yes, and they got the job at the Ambassador.
Yes.
Gee, I wish I could be there, but I have to leave town.
Oh, don't worry, Jack. They'll mail you the commission.
Oh. Well, anyway, Don, give them my best wishes for their opening.
I will, Jack. Goodbye.
So long. See, if I can keep that quartet working, I can relax a little. Oh, Rochester, I must be sure to take my... Hello?
Jack, I forgot to ask you. Would you like me to pick you up and drive you down to the station?
Oh, fine, Mary. That's swell. And, gee, I wish you could go to Texas with me.
Well, you know, I'd love to, Jack, but my family's coming here for a visit from Plainfield.
Oh, yes, you mentioned that yesterday. When are you expecting them?
Well, that's hard to say. You see, my sister Babe is flying, and Mama's coming by train, and Papa's coming by bus.
Gee, that's peculiar. Why do they travel separately?
That way they don't have to explain each other to strangers.
Oh, well, that's logical.
Yeah. I hope the vacation out here does Babe some good. She's still heartbroken.
I know. She was awfully upset about Gargantua.
Jack, stop that.
What?
They hardly knew each other.
Oh.
Now, Jack, when I take you to the station, I won't be able to stay too long. I got to be back for Benita and Ronnie's party.
Oh, the Colemans are throwing a party, eh? Now, isn't that my luck? The night I go away, they have a party. What's the occasion?
You just said it.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, I can't wait any longer. I got to call Phil. Let's see. His number is... Oh, well, that must be him. Hello?
Now, look, Charlie, I haven't got much time, so listen to me. I'm phoning you to warn you that my husband's wise to us, and he's on his way over to your house with a gun. So get out of town, Charlie. Get out quick!
I'm certainly glad my name isn't...
Elliot's a good writer, a good producer, and Leonard did all right. He later went with Lucy or somebody, did very
Danny
well.
Thomas, he did a lot of stuff with.
That's right.
Sheldon
That's
Leonard,
right.
yeah.
Well, those guys all came up through the ranks, I mean, they knew what they were doing. Because when you were around Benny, you were around a guy that he and Fred Allen and guys like that, their timing, they're... like Benny used to have office hours in Beverly Hills. Those writers had to be there. If they were there at a certain time, he sat at the table. Nobody took bits home like they do now. You do this and you two writers do. No way. You sat right at the table and started this thing. And I've been in there sometime. Jack and I, we really got along. And I've been in there sometime when they had a line for me to break the building down. And Benny'd say, no, does not fit his character. I've been too long building it up. In other words, he protected. You hear a lot of other shows. They had a guy in the air one time. They had him doing this, doing that. First thing you know, they burn him out. Benny came to me one time. He said, there's no way to kill you. I found you 4 stories down in the basement. I brought you out. I had you married. I had you drinking. I had 2 kids. I had you back on the booze again. He said, there's no way to kill you.
Glad my name isn't... Hello?
Hey, Jackson, I've been trying to get you back. Now, what was the important thing you wanted to talk to me about?
It's not important now. Phil, tell me something and tell me the truth. Is Phil your right first name?
Sure, Jackson, sure.
Are you positive?
Certainly I'm positive.
Well, Phil, did you ever tell anybody your name was Charlie? Huh?
No.
Good. Then you can take your time getting to the train.
What are you talking about?
I'll explain it later. It's a juicy tidbit. Now, Phil, are you all packed and ready to go?
Yep, everything's all corked up.
Good. Well, good. I'll see you later, then.
Boss, you want me to drive you to the station?
No, Rochester. Miss Livingston is going to pick me up. So close my bags, and I'll answer the door, Rochester. Oh, hello, Dennis.
Hello, Mr. Benny. I heard you were going away, so I came to say goodbye.
Well, that's nice, kid.
Goodbye.
Well, he came to say goodbye, and he said it. Now, Rochester. What is it now?
You didn't tell me where you're going.
Well, if you're interested, Dennis, I'm going to Houston, Texas.
What for?
For a benefit.
If you had 2 shows, you wouldn't need to go.
Look, Dennis.
Goodbye.
Now, there's the silliest kid I... Oh, no! Oh, no! You answer the door this time, Rochester.
Yes. Yes?
Is Mr. Benny in?
Of course I'm in. Now, come on in here, Dennis.
Yes, sir.
Now, look, kid.
Yes, sir.
Why can't you act like a normal, sensible human... Now, who can that be?
You locked me out.
Oh, this is like a Marx Brother picture here or something. Dennis, what did you come over here for anyway?
Well, I made an RCA Victor recording of Dear Hearts and Gentle People, and I thought you might like to hear it, and I brought the record with me.
All right, Dennis, I've got a few minutes. Put on the record, let me hear it. But if Mary comes by to pick me up, I'll have to leave.
Okay.
Okay.
I remember one script where I went over to Jack Benny's house and I sang the song, which I usually had to do every week. Sing the song I was going to sing on the following Sunday's program. And I went over there and I sang the song, and after I had sung it, Jack says, "Dennis, that'll be fine." And I said, "Well, thank you, Mr. Benny, and I got to go now." And he showed me to the door. And as I was about to leave, I turned and I said, "Goodbye, Mr. Benny, and have a nice trip." I left, of course. He went upstairs, and he was halfway through packing before he realized he wasn't going anywhere. You know, these are the silly type of things. There was another one I remember where in the body of the show, I had done something very frightening to Jack because he had another singer on the program, and I was very jealous, and I was mad. So what I was doing, I was hiding in the bushes in his home at Beverly Hills, and I was throwing rocks with notes attached through the window. And he would read them, you know, and it'd say, "You are next," and this type of thing. You think you can get away with it, but you can't. And all of this. Well, sure enough, I was caught by the police in Beverly Hills. At the end of the show, in the tag, he calls everybody out, and he called me out for a bow, and he said to me, "Dennis, what you did to me in the show tonight, frightening me the way you did, gave me an eerie feeling." And when I heard that, I said, "What did you say, Mr. Benny?" He says, "What you did to me gave me an eerie feeling." And I said, "Gee, Mr. Benny, that's where I was born." He said, "Oh, Erie, Pennsylvania?" I said, "No, Feeling, West Virginia." Now, that's a lousy joke, but I could get away with it.
That's not really a bad
Character
joke.
that I played.
It's not that bad a joke, actually.
Yeah.
And love in my
Gee, Mary, it was awfully nice of you to drive me down to the station.
Oh, that's all right, Jack. I wanted to see you off.
Yeah, well, let's go in.
Train leaving on track 5 for Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga.
You know, Jack, there's something fascinating about a railroad station. So many people going so many places.
Yeah. Poor Charlie didn't quite make it.
I more or less kept the comedy for Jack in the program. See, I did his train caller, his violin teacher, his Maxwell, his the man who was always the salesman at Christmas time in the department store, and several other voices for Jack.
What was that famous voice then at the railroad station? I think that seems to be one of the most
Oh,
popular.
yeah, that was the train caller. It says, "Train leaving on track 5 for Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga." You know, a lot of people thought those were phony towns, but those are real towns around Los Angeles.
Yeah, I found out after I made a few wrong turns since I've been out here.
One sound, I might tell you, Jack Benny was supposed to be visiting Epsom Downs in England, the horse races. And the scriptwriters always tried to throw me with something. They tried to put something in that I couldn't do. And this time they put in Mel Blanc does an English horse whinny. Now, how can you tell the nationality of a horse, you know? So I didn't say anything, and I waited till it came to that spot, and I did an English horse whinny that sounded like this.
Well, I guess the Benny was, that was probably your most exposure in all the radio, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Network and everything?
The beauty of radio is the fact that you could do more than one voice. On television, where they see you, you have to more or less do just one character.
Okay.
Attention, please, attention. To facilitate the holiday rush, all passengers going to Cucamonga They have their choice of trains, local, express, or mule. Have your feed bags validated.
Well, I've still got time to get my magazine. He hasn't announced my train yet.
Attention, please, attention. Train leaving on track 1 for Baltimore and Washington. It's leaving now, so you better run.
Let's see. I think the newsstand is over by the...
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Well, Mr. Kitzel!
Mr. Benny, what are you doing by the railroad station?
Well, I'm going to Houston, Texas.
Well, put her there, partner. That's where I'm a-heading.
What?
Give me land, lots of land, neath the sun, the skies above. Don't smog me.
Well, Mr. Kitzel, I'll probably see you down there. I'll be at the Shamrock Hotel.
Shamrock. My, that's a wonderful name for a hotel. It brings a lump in my throat.
It does?
Yes, I haven't seen a shamrock since I left the old country.
Well, I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun in Texas. You're certainly dressed for it, too. Cowboy boots, spurs, and a gun. Tell me, Mr. Kitzel, are you handy with a gun? You are?
I can throw a biscuit up in the air and with one shot make a bagel out of it.
Oh, then you are pretty good. Well, so long, Mr. Kitzel. See you in Texas.
Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo, Ghost Riders.
Well, I better go over and get that magazine before the train leaves.
Attention, please, attention. Train leaving on track 3 all the way to Schenectady. Just one stop at Kansas City.
Yeah, I got to get a newspaper, too. I want to see if they have anything in it about my...
Jack, what time does your train leave?
I don't know. It's not on the hit parade yet.
What?
Nothing.
Attention, please, attention. Train leaving on track 2 for Asheville, Nashville, Kalamazoo takes on water at Waterloo.
Mary, I'm going to stop at the magazine.
Watch it, Sam.
Mind my suitcase, Mary. I'll be right back. Now, let's see. There's so many magazines here, I don't know which one to get. Oh, Mister. Why do I always have to run into him? Now, look, mister, all I want to do is buy a magazine.
Okay. Do you want to read it or tear it in half to show me how strong you are?
I want to read it, and I'll take this one here.
Well, house and garden, aren't you lucky?
What?
Today only, with every copy, we give away a pocket full of fertilizer.
Now, look, mister, I came here to catch a train, and I'm not going to put up with any...
Pardon me for interrupting, but may I have a package of Lucky Strikes, please?
Yes, sir. Here you are. Here's your change.
Thank you. May I have a light, please?
Yes, sir. Here, I'll light it for you.
Oh.
I don't know which magazine.
Ah, my favorite cigarette.
Mine, too. They're so round, so firm, so fully packed.
And so free and easy on the draw.
You keep out of there!
But look, I know all about...
Clerk, I've been listening to the radio a lot, and I'd like to ask you something. Is it true that there isn't a rough puff in a Lucky because it's made of that fine, that light, that naturally mild tobacco?
Uh-huh.
And, is it true that veteran tobacco men choose Lucky Strikes for their own personal enjoyment?
Uh-huh.
And is it true that Luckies pay millions of dollars more than official parity prices?
Ooh, do they?
Now, look, clerk, I can't stand here all day. I'll take this magazine here, this copy of the Saturday Evening Post.
Yes, sir. That'll be 15 cents.
Here you are.
You want it gift-wrapped, I suppose.
Oh, quiet. You burn me up, you stupid jerk.
When you come round, I go berserk.
Train now leaving for Albuquerque.
Now cut that out!
Jack always referred to him as his nemesis. Yeah, he's, well, the nemesis character, because, I played a variety of things, but they were all the same fella. And he never had a name, like Mr. Kitzel, had a name and so on. But if he ever referred to him by name, he just called me my name, Mr. Nelson. And
That's right.
So many people, I'd meet people on the street, they say, hey, you're that fellow on the Jack Benny show. I say, yeah, what's your name? Because they really didn't know you.
May now board train on track 9 for Phoenix, El Paso, and Houston. Train will depart in 15 minutes.
Gee, 15 minutes.
Jack, they just called your train.
I know, Mary.
Well, why don't you get on now? It'll give you time to relax.
Yeah, I think I will. Well, goodbye, Mary.
Bye, Jack. Well, have a good time.
I will. So long. See you in a few days.
Gosh, this is what I hate about seeing someone off. You always have to go home alone. I think I'll go out the side exit. It's closer to the... Oops! Oh, I beg your pardon.
That's quite all right, miss. I was trying to cut across to gate 9.
Wait a minute. Aren't you Frank Leahy, the football coach at Notre Dame?
Yes, I am.
Gee, I'm awfully sorry I bumped you so hard.
Oh, it was all my fault. I saw you coming, but I didn't realize a girl could throw that kind of a block.
Well, I should have looked where I was going. May I...
No, thank you. I can get up by myself.
Gosh, Mr. Leahy, wait till I tell my friends that I ran into the coach of Notre Dame, a team that has played 38 games without one defeat.
Well, the credit really should go to the players and the assistant coaches. As head coach, my job is merely to help develop them.
Mr. Leahy, what have you got in that suitcase?
A quarterback, I like to get them young.
What?
Oh, I'm just kidding, of course. That's a mama doll. I'm taking it home to Sue and Flossie, our 2 daughters.
Attention, please. Train leaving for Yuma, Phoenix, El Paso, and Houston. All aboard.
That's my train. I'd better run along.
Goodbye, Mr. Leahy.
Goodbye. It was nice talking to you.
All aboard. All aboard.
Oh, Porter. Porter.
Yes, sir?
Which way to the lounge?
The next car back, sir.
Thank you. Yada-dee-da-dum, da-dee-da-dum, da-dum-dum-dee-da-da-dum, da-dum-dum-dee-da-da-dum, da-dee-da-dum, yada. It's a beautiful lounge car. Pardon me, sir. Is this seat next to you taken?
No, you may have it.
Thank you. Yada-dee-da-dum, da-dee-da-dum, dum. Nice day for traveling, isn't it?
Yes, certainly is.
Yep. Yada-dee-da-dum, da-dee-da-dum, da-dum. Comfortable seats.
By the way, you're Jack Benny, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm on my way to Texas. I'm putting on a show at that big charity football game in Houston.
Well, that's very nice.
Of course, I'm rather flattered they asked me to come down. But then, of course, at one time I was quite a football player myself, you see. You know, I used to play with the Waukegan Terrors.
Waukegan Terrors?
Sounds frightening, doesn't it? You know, I was famous for one particular play. It was a very tricky thing where I used to send the end out wide and... Oh, pardon me. Are you familiar with football? I mean, do you know the game at all? By that I mean, do you...
Yes, as a matter of
fact... Well, get this
I...
play. The ends went out wide. I sent both my halfbacks to the left and my 4 quarterbacks to the right.
4 quarterbacks?
Yes. Am I getting too technical?
Well, not yet.
Anyway, to make a long story short, we'd pull the opposing halfbacks out of position, and I'd send my fullback into the open and throw a long pass to him.
Why didn't you send a quarterback? You had plenty of them.
Well, we were having so much luck this way, I didn't want to change, you see. Do you see many football games during the season, Mr.
Leahy, Frank Leahy.
Oh, pleased to meet you, Mr. Leahy. Where are you from? I mean, where's your place of business?
South Bend, Indiana.
Oh, nice town, nice town. You know, I used to play it in vaudeville. What do you do there, Mr. Leahy? Are you a salesman or in the insurance business?
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry for being so nosy. Maybe you don't want to talk about it. Well, I think I'll go back to my compartment and read a while. Oh, darn it, I bought a magazine and left it in the station.
Well, if you feel like reading, Mr. Benny, I have a book here that might interest you.
Oh, well, thank you. Are you through with it?
Surely, take it along.
Well, that's awfully nice of you. Thanks very much. See you later, Mr. Leahy. Funny he was so reticent about telling me what business he was in. Well, I think I'll just stretch out here on the seat and read the book he gave me. Well, this is a coincidence. This book is about football. Notre Dame football, the T formation, by Coach Frank Leahy. Chapter... Oh, my goodness. That's who I was talking to. Frank Leahy, the coach of Notre Dame. And I'm stuck on the train with him for 2 days. I'll never be able to face him. I know what I'll do. Darn these windows, you can never open them. Well, I'll just have to stay in my compartment for the entire trip. I can't bear to... Come in? Oh, Mr. Leahy. Mr. Leahy, it's you.
Yes, Jack, I thought you might like to have dinner with me this evening.
Well, that's very nice of you, Mr. Leahy, but first I must apologize for making such a fool of myself. Imagine me not knowing what business you were in.
Well, Jack, don't let it worry you. When we played SMU last week, up to the last quarter, I didn't know what business I was in either.
No! Well, come on, Frank. We'll go to dinner. And it's my treat.
Jack, we'll be back in just a moment, but first...
Jack Benny's show was really quite easy to do. I'm talking now from the actor's standpoint. Obviously, the writing was meticulous. Jack honed a lot of that writing. He sat with the writers a great deal. If it came down to a rock-bottom decision as to a joke in or out, it would be very often Jack's decision that made that happen. But for an actor, it was a very simple show to do. You'd go in, we'll say on Saturday, you'd read through once. Just sit down, read the script straight through, get up and leave, and you'd come back in on Sunday. You'd read once around the table, go and read it once on the mic, and that's all until showtime. Just that easy to do.
So the whole thing was really right in there with the writing. It
was that, and also that Jack knew his people, and they wrote for those people. Jack had a great thing that I don't think any other comic in the business had. If you were to pick up a Jack Benny script and read it, you'd say, well, wait a minute, where are Mr. Benny's jokes? Because Jack didn't do jokes. He did looks, he did takes, he fed, really, you, the actor around him. That's the way he conducted his show. The big jokes were in the hands of the people who surrounded him, which was most unusual. And it showed that he had tremendous confidence in himself. He surrounded himself with characters that people expected to hear also. As soon as he said, oh, mister, people said, oh, boy, here it comes. He's going to get it, you know? And if he said, excuse me, and the fellow said, see, he says, oh, boy, here it comes. Now they're going to do that routine. The people were in on it, and I think they enjoyed being in on it. I guess the fact that the show stayed on top all the years that it did proved that.
Gee, Mr. Leahy, this was a wonderful dinner, wasn't it?
It certainly was, Jack. Oh, waiter, the check?
No, Mr. Leahy, this is on me. Waiter, I'll take the check.
Here you are, Mr. Benny.
Thank you. Now, just a second while I...
What's the matter, Jack? Something wrong with the check?
No, but Mr. Leahy, this will kill you. Remember when I told you I forgot my magazine?
Yes.
Well, I forgot my wallet, too. Isn't that awful?
You know, Mr. Benny,
What?
I'd like to have just one halfback that's as slippery as you are.
Well, thank you. Good night.
Be sure to Day and a Day in the Life of Dennis Day. Stay tuned to the Amos and Andy Show, which follows immediately. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.